It's been a while. Long time no see. Happy New Year. Um, Happy holidays. Happy February. Happy January. Um, Basically, I just kind of wanted to come on here and talk to you guys as well, just because it's like a very big thing happened lately or recently. So I'm like trying to think of the right words to say. It's just kind of hard. But I've also filmed this on TikTok as well earlier today. I also don't really know if I'm gonna edit this that much because I kind of just want it to be authentic. But I also have a terrible time at kind of putting my thoughts into words. So yeah. So basically, my last stream was sometime in December. I think that's the last time I posted a YouTube video. That was sometime in December as well. In December, 2 days after Christmas, I believe, or I forgot. Christmas was a Thursday. So the Sunday after Christmas, my grandmother was admitted to the hospital. She was in the ICU for a couple weeks, and then for like the last week she was there, she went into like a pretty cool room. It looked like a hotel suite. Unfortunately, she passed away a couple days following that. And I kind of go into it more on TikTok, but it's just a lot of things that I feel like there's kind of just talking about it over and over again. I don't know if that's good or not, because I don't really deal with this type of conflict often, so I don't really know what's the right course of action. So yeah, she has been in the hospital probably like twice a year minimum for the past 5 years. But she wasn't always, ill. It kind of started with dementia and Alzheimer's, and then from that point on, it was either a heart attack or a stroke or another heart attack or what have you. And I think she just surrendered her fight 2 weeks ago, which is when she passed away. I've kind of disappeared off the internet, not because of her passing, because she didn't pass until recently, but it was kind of the lead up to her passing. Once she got admitted to the hospital, I went to the hospital maybe like, let's say she was there for 30 days. I think it was a full month actually. She was there for like, let's say 30 days. I think I was there at least 25 of the 30 days she was there, even though she was pretty unconscious for maybe 20 of those 30 days. And if you were like a passerby there, you probably would have thought I worked at the hospital with how often I was there. I'd go in around 12 o'clock every day, sit there for a couple hours, go home, yada, yada, yada. I would do it all over. It became a cycle. It became a part of my daily routine that it got to the point that when she did pass away, I was so confused on like what the fuck to do, because you just don't really prepare for this type of thing, really. Like, even if you know it's gonna happen, which I did know she was eventually going to pass away, of course, just like everyone does, I just was not really prepared for it in the slightest. I was very close with her. She only knew me for like 20% of her life, but I known her for 100% of mine. She was always there. And there was one time where I don't want to like go into my family history and shit right now, but there was a point in time where my mother would work crazy hours and stuff, and like the mom I had was only my grandma, it felt like. And also me and my mom would bicker a lot, like mommy issues or whatever the people say, but me and my mom weren't best friends. And it has lasting effects, of course. Like, I feel like I'm always on edge when I'm around my mom sometimes. I feel like I'm just waiting for her to find something to nitpick about me, but with my grandma, it was never really like that. Like, everything I do is like a piece of her. Like, for example, like literally what I use to cover my webcam is a scarf of hers. And this isn't a piece of her hair, But I actually did recently, it's a loose thread, but I recently, when I went to get a comb the other day, I saw that there were silver hairs in the comb, and I was like, I can't touch this. I don't want to accidentally lose these hairs, because this is like, there's only so much tangible pieces I have of her. Like, if I saw a fingernail clipping, it might sound gross, but if I found a fingernail clipping of her, I would take that in a heartbeat. And it's weird. Grief is weird. It's weird, but like I was saying, I'm very close to her. We used to have sleepovers in my room. I used to have sleepovers in her room. I used to sleep with her up until I was like 4, and then I moved into my brother's room, and then I moved into my own room. But it was a time. I don't know. It's just like there's so much to talk about, but I feel like I've kind of said everything so many times already. I'm writing a speech for the funeral. Well, I finished it. I just have to like practice it. And maybe I'll read it here too. And I also, I did not think it really felt right to post like TikToks, live streams, and this and that while my grandma was suffering. And I know that depends on the person, because yes, it's a form of distraction, which I have been like watching TikToks for maybe 10 hours a day as a form of distraction. But at the same time, I feel like it's different for me. I don't know. I think I had a little sort of hope that she was gonna get better. I edited a video, actually, a convention vlog from October, and it's ready to be posted. It's done. I have it saved on my computer already. It's just the whole uploading part of it I just have yet to do. And I just haven't felt like I found the right time to do so. Like, even with Valentine's Day coming up, it's just like kind of like day of love, but it's like, I guess the first love of my life just kind of passed away, and it's kind of hard to not think about that, as well as her funeral also being on that day. And also, me being a Floridian, the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas tragedy was also on the 14th of February, so that day has always kind of been fucked for me since that happened. But it's just, you know, it happens. As far as what the future holds, I think it's gonna take me a while to kind of return to real life, because like there's days where I wake up and I feel like it was just a nightmare, like my grandma's downstairs, everything's normal. Or when I hear a sound down, I think it's, oh, it might be her, maybe I was just mistaken and it's her calling for my name. And if you watch my streams and stuff, you probably have heard my grandma in the background, actually, because with dementia, I know like a lot of dementia patients sometimes say things like bloody murder when it's nothing. For my grandma, since she's Haitian, she would say way, which is kind of like similar context, so it's not like bloody murder, it's more like help me, like save me type of thing. But like then you'd ask her what's up and she'd be fine. You could probably hear that in my past VODs or videos or whatever whenever I'm here, because you know, she has a very strong voice on her. She had a very hefty voice, so it wouldn't be that hard to hear. And you could imagine how triggering is, I guess would be the word, how triggering that would be for me to kind of hear in my own videos. And it's like, I just don't know. It's just like, what do I do? Even though it takes me forever to put out a video or something, it's fun to edit. I think nobody talks about it enough, but I think editing actually is fun. I know people hate it, but I think when it's a fun video, it's fun to edit. However, it's like, can I edit? Can I look at those videos and watch them and not have to pause and just lay in bed for a couple hours because I just heard, like, I just heard her voice? It's gonna be a big hurdle to jump over. I don't think I'm like going to like come back to streaming like tomorrow or anything, but and I'm saying come back to streaming as if there's a huge audience waiting for me. Like I'm aware I'm who the fuck am I question mark, you know? But I was posting on YouTube consistently. I was posting like shorts daily that actually did get views, and I was streaming and being consistent, and then I just disappeared. So I'm sure like at least one person out there is like kind of confused on where I've gone to. So since we're on what feels right and whatnot, something else that has also been on my mind has been if religion and all this stuff is true, if my grandma really is watching over me with, and like I'm being very honest, and I have literally a cross on my neck. However, growing up in Catholic school, or not Catholic school, Sunday school in the Catholic Church, getting my baptism, confirmation, first communion, all of that. But if there is a small chance that it is true that she's upon the clouds watching my every move, I fear that she might think that the way I'm distracting myself might just be me forgetting about her. And I don't want her to think that. So then it's like, what do I do? Like, for example, last weekend, mind you, it's been 2 weeks since she passed away, like a little over 2 weeks. But last weekend, I went to watch Iron Lung, and I was like, oh, this would be perfectly good distraction. And like, I agree, it's good to be distracted. However, during the movie, there were many times where I was like, if she's watching over me right now, does she just think I just don't care about her? Because that's not true, and I hope she doesn't think that. And it's like when I say my speech at the funeral, she doesn't understand English, she only speaks Creole. I worry that she won't even be able to hear what I'm saying. But also, I believe that stuff very loosely, and I think everyone's free to believe what they believe in. I think in times like these, it's just very hard to rationalize what feels real and what does not feel real. I did not want to get into the religion and shit of it, but I guess I'm kind of there. I feel like you think about a lot of things when you think about these types of things, or when you go through these types of things. So, yeah. There's some days where I'm just like, when is she coming back? She always comes back. Why has she not come back yet? And I thought this was going to be one of those times until I saw her at the hospital for the first time and realized she was not coming back. And I think I cried more then than I did the Tuesday I found out she passed away. Because it's kind of more so like a feeling of, now she's definitely not gonna be able to recover, but now she can't recover, but she's in such an unfamiliar, well, she's been to the hospital before, but it's like not home, it's unfamiliar. So she's in such an unfamiliar place. I'm just gonna think about it, and there's no easy way out of it. You're not just not gonna think about it. You're gonna literally think about them forever, because that's life. When someone's such a big part of you, you just see them forever. And I hated whenever I would talk to my mom or dad about the situation, they would say, that's life, you just gotta move on, you just gotta learn to let things go. And that sounded so far-fetched to me. Let things go, like, this is not a thing, this is my grandma. But I think it's more of the sense of not letting them go in like memory, but letting them say goodbye. And I think when I had that realization, it made a lot of things easier. I did a whole bunch of rambling for 20 minutes. I'm gonna cut this down a whole lot because I might have the worst trains of thoughts on the planet. I have like a subway with 5 different stops as my train of thought, but the subway goes backwards every 2 stops. Something I do want to read to you though is my speech, because I am done with it, and I'd like to share some of my memories with her. I will not be mentioning her name though, or my brother's names because they're mentioned in here. I'll just say brother 1 and brother 2 or grandma. So yeah, maybe I'll put pictures of her and shit so it makes it a little better, but I don't want to dox her. Okay, maybe I'll put stock videos so it's better. I don't know what people do. I'm not a pro at this. Okay. Thank you all for gathering here to celebrate the beautiful life of my grandmother. Understandably, it has been a painful couple of weeks. Despite already having faced loss in my life, this is the first time I truly encountered the infamous 5 stages of grief. Something nobody really tells you about the 5 stages of grief is that it is not a clear-cut linear pattern of denial to anger to bargaining to depression to acceptance. Rather, there are some days where I'm upset or some where I'm frustrated. Then there are days where I'm in denial considering she's gone to the hospital multiple times before and I'm still waiting for her to come back home. Oftentimes I peek through the crack of her bedroom door just in case she came back through some miracle. She's a fighter and she has always fought her fight, and I sometimes hope this is all a sick nightmare that I have yet to awaken from. However, with grief comes acceptance, and I have to come to accept that grief is not particularly a bad thing. It's a reminder that the unconditional love I've had for her is ever so strong. It's a reminder that she's manifested her love into my veins, my porous bones, the kinky fibers of my hair, the rough etchings of my cuticles, the pores of my skin, what have you. Every day I see her through the life that she gave me, whether it's the left side of my full-sized mattress that she would sleep on when we would have sleepovers, or when I look over at my car's empty passenger seat and remember when I would haul her over to Brother One's house for his New Year's celebrations. Or when I would glance over the pantry for seasonings and see the brown rolled cinnamon sticks and remember how she would make awhile or la bouillie without a second thought if Brother 2 or I would ask for some. I also think of her when I speak with my broken Creole because it reminds me that even though my Creole is severely underdeveloped, the love we had for each other transcended words. I think of her when the scent of the gourmand lavender hand sanitizer engulfs my nose and remember when she would pick lavender flowers to make tea come night. I think of her when I see ripened avocados and remember how she would always talk about the growing sapling of the avocado tree that was growing in the backyard of the first home I came to know her in. She would always talk about how long it would take to fully grow and bear avocados, and I would always tell myself that I hope to live there again one day so I can show her when it's fully grown. I think of her when I see the crashing, violent waves of the ocean and remember when I would inform her that I'm going to the beach with my mother and her church group, and she would always tell me, every time without fail, to stay away from the water so I don't get hurt. I think of her when I see a tin of dominoes and remember when she always won against me whenever I played against her. I think of her when I reflect on my youth when Brother 2 and I would misbehave as children and she would pack her bags and say that she was going to walk back to Haiti until Brother 2 and I would plead for her not to. I think of her when I think about what it feels like to feel love in such a raw and genuine way. And despite grandmother only knowing me for 20% of her life, I've known her for 100% of mine, and yet she never failed to make me feel like I was a part of her from when she was my age too. To circle back to the topic of grieving, I've been mentally preparing for this speech for a while. Every once in a while, I'd feel a tear well up in my eye as I think about what it is that I'm going to say and how I can properly commemorate her. A little less than a year ago, she was admitted to the hospital and the doctors weren't too hopeful. Thankfully, she kept fighting for a little while longer. It's very eerie to have that timer ticking down your spine, just wondering when the day would come, and I'm sure she knew the time was coming too. Back in the day, when she would have bad days and be perched on the edge of her bed, she would say something along the lines of, "I'm going to die soon," and my eyes would water, sometimes even a tear would stroll down my cheek, and she would reassure me by saying, "It's okay, don't cry, my child." And with time, she would say the same thing, that she was going to die soon, and like before, my eyes would water. However, as time passed, she would no longer reassure me and would just be as upset as I was. Several years passed, and I remember the last time I had a true conversation with her, which was maybe a month ago, right before she was admitted for the last time. I saw that she was a little more awake than usual, and I asked her how she was doing. She said she wasn't doing too badly, and at that moment I had a glimmer of hope that she was going to get better. I felt that she was essentially immortal, like a superhero, and the afflicted city that she saves is the people around her. However, beyond naivety, I must remember that every day was another fight for her, just like a long war or a race against time, and like all things do, they must come to an end. She didn't lose a battle, but instead surrendered. In the century of life she experienced, she has seen so many things, met a great deal of people, encountered a multitude of cultures, music, art forms, love, hate, life, death, and so much more. And I endlessly thank you all for being part of the fruitful life that she lived. And I hope that you all continue to spread the love for her life as she has spread with those around you. So that's the speech. That's the speech, guys. Yeah, that's kind of it. I don't really know what else to talk about. I think I just wanted to get on here and kind of explain where I went and kind of talk to you guys, because I see you guys as my friends, even though I know that's parasocial, but I feel it. I feel like you guys are a part of me, and she's a part of me, so she's a part of you guys too. So, alrighty then. I'll catch you guys later. I don't know when the next time I'll come back on here will be, but I say give me like a week or so. Alright. Bye guys. See you later, and good night. Sleep well, or wake up well, or have a good afternoon well. Bye.
Merci.